getting ready to head out. But before I do, I just want to give a story time of if he wanted to, he would, Lord Jesus. So for the sake of this series about this specific white king, we're just going to call him California King because he is in California. So he was in my DM and he was consistent in the DM. Like I kept seeing that name pop up, Lord Jesus. So it got my attention and I reached back out to him and we just start having, casual conversation, good in-depth conversation, honestly. And so today I was making the banana pudding. I was on live for those who were a part of my live and we just kept talking and kept talking. And he asked me out on a date and I'm like, you're in California. He said, yeah, it's a virtual date. I'm like, a what? And he said, it's a virtual date. He said, I'll send you some money. Like, you get dressed. He said he'll pick the restaurant, like one restaurant that's in my state and a restaurant that's in his state. And we would both go to the restaurant and FaceTime each other as if we are right next to each other in the restaurant. I'm like, what? So you're not going to let distance get between us? You going to make it happen regardless? And he like, yeah, I mean, if I'm not physically there to take you out on a date, I can do it virtually and we still gonna have our date regardless. I'm like, I was just amazed. I had never heard of a virtual date, but aside from that, the energy, immaculate, the effort, it's just unmatched. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to keep y'all updated about him. Like, this California King, I might have to keep this one around, Lord Jesus.
Don't be trusting the men that be doing money spread on Instagram and on the net and all of that. Most of the time, that money be fake. Y'all ever see something or smell something or, like, hear something and it just brings back a memory that you lost? I'm scrolling through Instagram. I'm seeing this guy. He did a whole money spread. And he got, like, stacks and stacks and stacks of cash. So that remind me, like, when I was about 17 years old, I was on the train and I was, like, on my way to school. And for, like, a week in a row, like, I just kept seeing the same Hispanic guy on the train. He was dripped out in designer, MCM book bag. Back in the day, MCM book bags was lit. Not too much. And, he kept asking to take me out on a date. But, like, I had strict parents. Like, I was not going for none of that. I was like, no, I gotta go to school. Then one time I saw him, he was like, oh, what's your schedule looking like? Like, maybe I can just take you to breakfast. I'm like, I ain't really gonna get in trouble if I go to breakfast now. But at that time, I really had to study for a test, and I think I had homework, because when I was 17, I was still taking, like, Brooklyn College courses while I was still in my senior year of high school. I was 16, one of them, but I knew I was still in high school. I remember having first period off, but I still had to go to Brooklyn College by my second period class. So I finally agreed to go to his house, right? My first red flag was the fact that his bedroom was in the living room. And he lived with his mom, but he told me he paid the rent. I should have known he was lying. Like, I should have just known he was lying. So yeah, his bed was in the living room, and he had, like, a curtain that separated the other rooms. So I go in his room. He has, like, a stack of cash on, like, the dresser. And he goes and he pick up the stack of cash and he like, oh, I could buy you whatever you want. I could buy you the world. I could take you on flights. I could book trips, like, whatever you want. Like, go pick out a designer, something online. Like, I'll get it for you. Like, money was never a problem. Oh, brother. Me, I was never the type that money ever fazed me. So I'm like, okay. So, I sit on the bed and I'm instantly starting to do my homework because I was not trying to fail that exam. I was trying to get my homework done. Like, I was instantly, like, just studying. So he like, oh, what you want for breakfast? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really hungry, actually, because I was never really a breakfast person. I don't even know why I agreed to be there. Like, I know for a fact Jeffrey Dahmer would have had a field day with my ass. So we finally decide on getting me some McDonald's. He ordered on Uber Eats, blase, blase, blase. And I have a bad habit of when men in particular leave me alone in their space, I like to go through shit because I'm curious. That means don't ever invite me to your house because I'm going through your medicine cabinet. So fast forward, he basically went downstairs to pick up the Uber Eats because the Uber Eats was not jacking coming upstairs. Why he did that, I got to be nosy as fuck. Y'all, I went to that stack of cash and I took a close look at it. That shit said play money. Used for props only. This the same stack of cash that he's been flexing. And I was wondering, like, this the same stack of cash he been flexing on all his Instagram photos? And honestly, I didn't even make it hot. Like, I just laughed to myself and I just sat back down and I continued my homework, act like I ain't never happened. But I never let that shit go. Like, I used to just be like, yo, these men be frauds. But yeah, don't be believing everything you see on the media because some people just be faking it to make it.
So I'm going to tell you the story about when I woke up at a lake like 10 years ago, and I had no idea how I got there or where I was. So I met this guy on like Tinder or one of those things back then, like Plenty of Fish or something like that, like whatever. And I thought he was really cool. I thought he liked me, you know, all the stuff. So we hung out one time, had a good time, just went out to eat or something, like whatever. The second night we went to go hang out, he's like, hey, my friends are having a house party. Do you want to go? And I'm like, hell yeah, let's go to this house party with a bunch of freaking guys. And I don't know any of them. And I don't even know this guy. Dumb, stupid stuff. Before I really get into this, I just want to say, like, I take full responsibility for putting myself in the situation that I put myself in. And it was definitely a learning experience. And I'm very lucky that I came out of it alive and okay, because many people don't. So I was like wanting to keep up with the guys, and I was wanting to like take shots and be like the cool girl and whatever. And they were taking shots of all like hard alcohol, like moonshine from like somebody's backyard. So I like was just drinking a lot. And mind you, I am 5'1", and at the time I was probably like 120 pounds. So I was not keeping up with these guys. I don't know. I was just being stupid. So I had made it clear like earlier on in the night or like whatever. I'm like, hey, like I'm not sleeping with you. Like we're not there yet. Like I'm not sleeping with you. And that's like a big part of the story, unfortunately, is that I was like, I'm not sleeping with you. And yeah, so I got that into his head. So a lot of the information that I found out from somebody else who was actually there, like one of the guys who actually lives at that house. Because the last thing I remember is taking a shot of like Jameson or something at the kitchen table, and then I woke up at the lake. So I had to get information from somebody else. So I wake up to this beautiful sunset or sunrise, and I'm in my car, I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm like a little delirious, and I wake up and I look around and I'm at this beautiful lake, beautiful sunrise. No idea where I am or how I got there. Okay? My phone is dying. I don't know where my keys are. When I open up my car door, my car alarm's going off, and I have no idea where I am. And but I knew like I was like there was houses, like I was in a nice neighborhood, and my alarm's going off, and I'm like, oh my god, the cops are gonna be called, and I'm like still drunk and whatever. Now, being young, confused, dumb, like whatever, I didn't think to like I didn't know where my keys were. You might already know at this point where my keys were, but I'm like, I had no idea. And I was just in a panic, and my phone is dying. I am blowing this guy's phone up. I'm like, where are my keys? How did I get here? How could you do this to me? Like, what happened? Like, I'm freaking out, and crickets. Nothing. Doesn't answer anything because he's a fucking coward. So like I said, my phone was on like probably like 5%, and I ended up calling my one friend, and he's like, you need to try to go find the house that you were at. Maybe it's close by. And I'm like, I don't remember. I came here and it was nighttime. I don't remember. But I did remember like a couple like cars that were parked like on the lawn or like whatever. So I'm going and I'm walking, and like I'm pretty sure it's this house. And so I go and I knock on the door. Nobody's answering it, and I look in and I'm like, okay, it's definitely this house, because I had seen my speaker that I had brought was sitting in there. So I opened up the door, it was unlocked, and I'm like, great, I'm just gonna get shot or something. Like I'm walking into somebody's house. These are like ex-Marines and whatever. I'm like, and now I'm gonna go have to like wake them up, and like he just like it was absolutely just terrifying. So I saw 2 bedrooms, and I knew there was 2 guys who lived there. The one guy had like really bad PTSD and like just was really going through it, and the other guy was like younger, he was still in the Marines and stuff. And I'm like, I want to wake up the younger guy, but I didn't know whose room was whose. So I was like, all right, screw it. So I'm still on the phone with my friend, and I go into the room, and I wake up this guy, and I woke him up by his ankles because my friend told me to do that. And I woke him up by his ankles, and I was crying. I'm telling him what's going on and whatever. So he tells me that at some point some lovely ladies showed up to the party, and I guess one of them were into the guy that I went there with, and they were totally like DTF, and therefore I was no longer of value, and I guess my life was no longer of value, apparently. Yeah, so he says that at a point everybody left, and he thought that I was going with them and like gonna go back to like this guy's house or like whatever. This is just what he told me. I don't know if they had said what they were going to do with me or whatever, but I guess him and these girls and whoever else was there, they drove my car to the lake, left me in the passenger seat, locked the doors, put my keys on top of the car, and just dipped. Why they didn't just like leave me on the couch at these people's house or something, I don't know, but they didn't. So I get in this guy's truck. He drives me back to the lake. We see my keys sitting on top of my car. I didn't think to look there. Again, I'm short. I didn't think to look there. And that's where they were. So I'm like, okay, thanks, I guess. And he's like, yeah, man, like, I'm sorry about my buddy. Like, I didn't know that he was just gonna like leave you at the lake. So, basically, the lesson is do not overdrink. Do not go to people's houses where you don't have you don't know that you can like fully trust somebody if something were to happen to you, if you were to black out or like something like that was to happen. And it was like a really, really big like wake up call for me. I'm like, you can't just trust anybody. You can't trust that like they have good intentions, for you as a human being. And also the biggest lesson I learned was just not to overdrink. Like, I have not blacked out since. That was insane. I am very lucky to be okay. Unfortunately, I don't remember a good bit of the night, so I can't, I don't really know what happened, but, from my perspective and how I felt, I was just more like mentally, scarred from it. But it was a good lesson to learn, and I was putting myself in very dangerous situations, so I was very lucky to make it out of there. So, don't ever drink. Don't, go to house parties with a bunch of dudes. Make sure you always have somebody with you that you trust and that you know will get you home safe and, cares about the value of your life, because granted, I was locked in a car. Still, you just never know. Like, you never know, what could have happened to me. So be smarter than me. Learn from my lessons. You don't need to outdrink no man. You don't need to show off and be like, I can drink all this alcohol, because it's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Story time, how I fell out with my best friend of almost 10 years on my trip to Houston. Okay, so let's back it up a little bit. For those of you who follow me, you know that I just moved to Dallas a few weeks ago. And right before I moved to Dallas, I had came out here on like a little solo trip to see my house, sign it, and then go to Houston and visit my best friend who lives in Houston. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to change some names. My best friend that lives in Houston is going to be herself, because we're still best friends. So Kenya is Kenya. She's the one that lives in Houston. So we're going to call the other girl Tina. Okay? No, let's call her Tia. Let's call her Tia. So Tia lives in San Antonio, and Kenya lives in Houston. So I'm coming into town. I did a night in Dallas, see the house, spend the night in Dallas downtown, kind of to see downtown, whatever. The next day, I'm driving to Houston, and we're having us a girls' weekend. Mind you, this had been planned for weeks in advance. Tia knew about it. Kenya knew about it. Kenya had structured her whole weekend, okay, for this. Tia also, since she lives in San Antonio, she had rented a car to drive to Houston, to meet in Houston, etc. Mind you, I paid for the hotel out of my own pocket. Me and Kenya were going back and forth. I'm like, girl, okay, back it up a little bit more. Kenya was also having a Friendsgiving on Sunday. So I drove to Houston on Saturday. I flew into Dallas on Friday. Drove to Houston Saturday. Friendsgiving was on Sunday, okay? Because this is all happening a week before Thanksgiving, okay? Keep up with me. So me and Tia are supposed to be sharing a hotel room, and we're both leaving Houston on Monday. I was going to drive back to Dallas. I fly out of Dallas Monday. And she was going to be driving back to San Antonio Monday as well. Okay? So, mind you, Kenya is my best friend and Tia is my best friend separately. They don't know each other at all. Okay? So Kenya's like, girl, you can stay at my house. And I'm like, but you know, I'm bringing my other best friend with me. So I'm just going to get us a really nice room, a really spacious suite so that we can be able to get ready to go out and like just have us a good time. Like I have a really hefty savings. And so I'm really sparing no expense because I really want to have a good time with my girls. It is my first solo trip since coming out of an abusive, crazy ass relationship, that I would be having like a solo trip with my girls, just me and the girls. So I was excited, you know. So instead of getting like a small room or anything like that, downtown, I ended up getting a suite that ended up coming up to like $450. Okay, keep up with me. Okay, I'm really irritated because I just filmed a whole part 2 and there was no audio. Like, where is the audio? What is wrong with TikTok, bro? Anyway, let's continue and let me just redo part 2. Okay, my throat was killing me. I had to literally make some tea. So, I get on the road, okay? Me and Tia are in constant contact. When I leave Dallas, I left Dallas around 11 a.m. I call her when I'm like literally an hour out, like I'm driving and I'm an hour from Dallas headed to Houston. And she's like, yeah, I'm on the road too. I'm like 30 minutes behind you. So I will get there at 3. She would get to Houston around 3:30, 3:40, right? Cool. So as soon as I get to Houston, it's like 3 o'clock. I go straight to the beauty supply store because I promised her I would do her hair and makeup and dress her for like the whole weekend because she's really bad at that, notoriously known for being bad at that. And anytime we get together, I always do her makeup and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to surprise her. I'm going to go to the beauty spot store. I'm going to get her all the makeup she needs. I'm going to buy it so that this time when I do it, she can learn how to do it. And then, you know, she can do it herself. Cool. I go in the beauty spot store. I called her. I'm like, hey, girl, did you bring any makeup? She's like, no, I didn't, which I figured she didn't. I said, okay, I'm going to get you the things, like the essentials that you need for me to do your makeup. Cool. I'm like, how far are you? She's like, I'm 30 minutes out. Perfect. I get on the phone with my other best friend, Kenya, at this point. We're just talking about the night. I'm getting pasties for everybody. Like, you know, we're just doing our 1-2. Cool. I leave the beauty spot store, head to the hotel. Get to the hotel almost around 4 o'clock, which was like check-in time. Cool. I start getting ready. I lay everything out. I have a video of that because I was so proud. I was so excited. I was vlogging the whole weekend because I was going to post. Okay. So I laid everything out. My makeup, her makeup. I had to do a whole install on my head, y'all. This is Afrotech weekend, so we had a lot of plans, and so I just wanted to be a bad bitch. Okay, so I had a whole nother wig I was putting in my head. This point, I'm on the phone with my best friend Kenya the whole time. We're getting ready together, literally on FaceTime. So at this point, it's like 5:20. She's like, where is your other best friend? Because you've been getting ready for like an hour and a half, and we're supposed to be at the event at 6. Where is she at? Don't you have to do her hair and makeup? I'm like, yeah, girl, you're right. Let me get off the phone with you. Let me call her. Get off the phone with her. Y'all, before I tell y'all about this phone call, I'm going to back it up. Me and Tia just got back cool, rebuilding our friendship after we had not spoken in a year due to her. I'm not going to put all her business out there, but it was due to her. And most of y'all know I'm about a year out of a very abusive relationship as well. So I felt like because I gave him so many chances, I should do the same thing for her. Even though this would have been the second time that I would have been giving her another chance to be in my life. She called me, she was very apologetic, told me what had been happening with her the last year and how she really needed her best friend who was the only real person in her life around her again. And I said, okay, we could try to rebuild. You've really broken my trust. I don't trust you, but we can try to rebuild this. She ended up flying to Nashville while I was living in Nashville. We spent the whole weekend together and I showed her all around Nashville. We had a great time. So our next step was to do this trip to Houston, okay? So she is notorious in the past 10 years I've known her for being boy crazy, okay? So now we're gonna fast forward. I call her, she answers. I'm like, where are you, girl? It's 5:20. She's like, oh, I've been here since 3:30. I went to a man's house. So she made it to Houston, said nothing, and went straight to a man's house. Catch me in part 3. Sound check. Bro, I just recorded this whole part and TikTok is glitching so bad. I am fucking pissed, bro. I don't know what's wrong with TikTok. This is my third time trying to do this. So I'm going to keep it under a minute so that I don't waste my own time because it probably won't even record. So answer the phone. I'm so pissed that I'm telling this shit over again. Like, I'm literally about to stop telling the fucking story. I'm actually pissed. I'm actually very irritated. So here we go. She answers the phone. I'm about to speed through this bitch because I done told this story to myself now 4 times on camera. I'm irritated. So she answered the phone. I've been waiting for her for 2 hours now, getting dressed, did a whole install, etc. I've been on the phone with my best friend the whole time while doing it. She answers, the dude's in the background because he thinks it's so fucking funny. And he's like, haha, she's only been here for an hour and 45 minutes. Because I said, bitch, you been here for 2 hours and you been at that nigga house? Instead of being here in the hotel room that I bought for us, getting ready with the makeup that I just bought for the event that we've been planning to go to for over a month, you've been getting fucked? Like, how is you? Are you cool? Are you okay? And now I'm going to stop here because I don't even know if it's recording, so. Does the audio work? Let's see. Okay, part number 1700 because I've told this story to myself now 1700 times. Thanks, TikTok. Again, I'm finna speed. So she gets on the phone and she's kind of laughing and I'm like, okay, girl, well, I'm leaving. And I will leave a key at the front desk and leave it up to you to get ready and you can meet us there. I still haven't cursed her out like she deserved to be. I'm still keeping it cute because I've spent all this money and I've come out here and I want us to have a good time. She's like, oh, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. I'm coming right now. So I waste an extra 45 minutes in the hotel room. It's now past 6 o'clock. I'm wasting time because I'm thinking that she's going to show up. She doesn't show up. Whole time I'm on the phone with my best friend and she is waiting in the parking lot at the event for us because she doesn't want to go in by herself. So she's like, please come on. Is that girl ever even coming? Like, this is getting ridiculous. She does not give a fuck about any of our time. This is crazy. I'm like, girl, this is crazy. She's 30. She should know better. She's older than all of us, both of us. What is she doing? I don't know. Okay. So I now go downstairs to the front desk. As I'm giving the man the key, guess who walks in? The little Karen herself. And I'm calling her Karen because I genuinely feel like this is a mixed people syndrome. Sometimes, like a problem, they feel like the world revolves around them. It's something about them having white moms. Anybody I've dealt with, friend or partner, the white mom syndrome should be studied. It needs to be studied. Really, it needs to be studied, okay? Catch me in the next part because after a minute and a half, it does not record. I don't know what's going on, y'all. So that actually recorded. So let's continue. She walks into the door and she looks disheveled. She looks high. Her eyes are red. She looks fucking terrible. So she's going to have to go take a shower, do her hair, do her makeup. And she wanted me to drop everything, go upstairs, wait for her to take a shower, do her hair, and do her makeup. That's what she said. That's what she thought she deserved. There was no apology. She simply looked at me and said, where are you going? I need you to come upstairs. If you don't come upstairs, I'm going back to San Antonio. Mind you, my other best friend is still on the phone. She's like, is she fucking for real? We've been waiting for this over 3 hours, and you think that you finna stop me at the door and make me go upstairs? I just got out of an abusive relationship, babes. I'm not joining another one with you. And this is why we weren't friends. And this is why you begged me to get back in my life. And this is how you act? This is how you act to you? After I'm letting you back in my life, the thanks I get. Anyway, I still decide not to go out for her because at this point, you're pathetic. You're just sad. The fact that you need a man to validate you in every moment of your life is actually pathetic. So I said, okay, go back to San Antonio, babes. She's like, I'm really going. If you don't go upstairs with me right now, I'm going back to San Antonio. Go. Be my fucking guest. I'll enjoy this hotel room all by myself. This beautiful big suite. I'll enjoy it because it's already paid for. And you're trifling. So I walk out to my car. I'm thinking that I sat there for 10 minutes thinking that this girl was going to come to the car or call me or something. Ask me for the keys so that she would go get ready. Calm down. She would go get ready and meet us at the place. She never did. I watched her pull off. And me and my other best friend were on the phone, and we're both just like, yeah, she's probably going back to that nigga's house.